This is the Illimitable Experience podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Illimitable Experience podcast. If you're watching this video, like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to the channel. We are posting great content regularly. With that, today we have as our guest Shantanu, who is a magician. Hi Shantanu, how are you?
Hi, Manan. Yeah, I'm doing great. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast.
It's
I
a pleasure
really
to
like
have
the
you
name
today.
of the podcast.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you today, Shantanu. So, Shantanu, when I saw your profile, and obviously the reels, are quite helpful these days to, look at people's profile. It has given people a great reach. I saw that you're a magician, you're a mentalist, and at the same time, you're a Rubik's Cube artist. So what we'll do is we'll talk about the magic first. Uh, how did you get involved in magic? कैसे start किया था ये?
So my journey started when I was like around 9 years old.
Hmm.
So there used to be this TV show on the channel Nickelodeon. The TV show was called Tricky TV, if I'm not wrong, and there they used to show us magic tricks, and they used to teach us some basic tricks as well. And that's how I got into magic, and I was quite fascinated with this new art that I got exposed to, and then. I started learning, then I referred a few resources online as well. And that's how my journey actually started. But for a long time, it just was in a more like a hobby stage. So I never thought of it, taking it in a very serious manner. So I was just
Hmm.
learning it for the fun of it. But later on, as I started, performing more and more, I realized that this could be taken as a career as well. And
Okay.
that's how since the past 4 to 5 years I've involved into performing magic in a more professional manner.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when you talk about the show Tricky TV, so
Mhm.
obviously they will be टीवी पे आ रहा था इसलिए उसमें सिंपल ट्रिक्स बताते होंगे. So
Right.
ठीक है वो initial few tricks so it is easy to learn, probably YouTube say you might have searched more things and you have learned. But
Yeah.
then what happens is after a one point वो एक time पे एक stop आ जाता है. So how did you overcome that stop कि अच्छा इसके आगे भी मुझे जाना है करके I want to learn new tricks.
So as you rightly said that on the television as well, they just taught you very basic tricks, basic
Hmm.
effects. Most of them were sleight of hand, but like very on the very basics line, beginner friendly itself. But
Hmm.
on YouTube, I started to get to know about a few other moves, card moves. Let's say mainly on YouTube, I found magic related to card tricks. So different types of card tricks. At that time, there used to be a lot of channels just dedicated to magic, which I don't think are that much active these days. But so in the initial stages, I got more, interested into card magic. But the funny part is, the more I started to learn about magic, uh, the more I am slightly away from card magic these days. And I think even the magicians who will be watching this will agree on this part because from a layperson's perspective, um, no matter what how great a card trick is, it's always a card trick. So
Hmm.
for that reason, like I still like to learn card effects, uh, but in the professional environment, I try to involve as many organic props as possible. So like rings, coins, even borrowed objects, and all those stuff.
Right. That's a great way that you pushed yourself beyond the card tricks as well. Now, obviously I don't know the what magic is exactly. Like it, I've watched magic, okay, but I don't know okay ये इसका history क्या है, and how do people, where do people learn from it? So can you put some light on this? के, what is the history of magic?
So it is still a sort of a debatable thing because nobody know how magic actually started. So some people claim that in the ancient times in ancient Egypt, in those times, few people used to use the sleight of hand to steal some things because let's say some poor people or something on those lines. But
Hmm.
nobody knows the exact origin of magic. as such. But if I were to state like few of the like oldest tricks that a lot of people in the community agree on, it must be the cups and balls effect. It's a very popular effect, and it's performed even till this date. A lot of magicians have their own versions of it. So a very popular version being the one by the famous duo magicians, that is Penn and Teller. And anyone watching this can in fact search it on YouTube. That is Penn and Teller, Cups and Balls. It's a very interesting take on the classic of magic. So I think that is what, as far as the history is concerned. But over the years, magic as an art form, it evolved in a little bit traditional manner. Like the resources were mostly limited to books. There are special books for magic. There's special books for card magic, for coin magic, for mentalism, for like different types. So even rope magic, there are different books and resources. But with the advent of technology, a few of these things also got recorded in the video format. So in the early, I would say in the early 80s or 90s, there used to be this VHS tapes that like different magicians used to refer. They used to record their performances and their explanations on these things, and it used to get sold in magic shops and everything like that. And nowadays, it's a combination of both. We find content digitally as well. There are lectures which magicians refer to online. There are monthly magazines sort of a things as well. And there are community, there are forums, magician specific forums, and there are books as well. So right now, in terms of resources, a person can find a lot of ways to learn and approach magic.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You said that this origination is from Egypt, and back in Egypt, people used to do the slip of hand trick. So, is this like one form of magic, and there are many types of magic, or this is a name of a trick that you're talking about?
So it's not slip of hand, it was sleight of hand. It's
Okay,
just like,
sleight of hand.
yeah. So sleight of hand is a very generic term used to anything that uses your hand, but you do something, but it is either hidden or in a way, like for example, even like you pretend something is going in one hand, but it doesn't go in that hand, or it's actually a very broad term, to be honest. So sleight of
Mm-hmm.
hand is, I think, the basic origin of magic, and based on the principles of sleight of hand came the cups and ball routine, which involves three cups and a ball. And as I said, that over the years, a lot of magicians have have their own take on this particular classic of magic.
Acha. And since it is a very old trick, can you tell what is the trick which goes behind the cups and balls? Okay, how does the ball travel between the cups?
I won't be able to reveal it at the moment, but
Hmm.
the reason I mentioned earlier to watch Penn and Teller's performance on this particular take is because they perform it in a very like very interesting fashion, in the sense that they will tell you how the trick works, and then they do the magic, and it's really like it gives you a very fresh perspective, especially to lay person, that how much efforts goes into sleight of hand. And even though you can see everything happening because they just explained you, but still it's quite impressive to watch it. In fact,
Hmm.
just a spoiler, they do it on transparent cups, so you see each and every move that happens. But I would recommend everyone to like watch that performance because it's really fascinating. It's really
Hmm.
impressive to see all the moves in action in real time.
Right. Now that brings me to the question that if these people that you recommended are, openly telling you that how this trick is done, and yet people are fascinated with the fact that okay, your trick is executed to the best, at the best level. So then the question arises, what is magic actually? Is it deception? Is it something that is so quick that is invisible to the naked eye? Or is it psychology? What exactly is magic in those things?
So as you rightly mentioned, I would say it's a combination of all the things that you just now mentioned. It is
Okay.
deception in a way. It is also like sleight of hand is basically something that is so quick that our eyes tend to overlook or we tend to miss it. And it also involves principles of psychology as well.
Mm-hmm.
So even like most of the magic tricks, the secrets are so simple that we as adults we can never think that, oh, someone can do it that way as well. So
Right.
like that is one thing that I love about magic. That is one thing that I love about learning new effects, because um, when we study new effects, sometimes we realize that the most simplest things can be very powerful. um, and Yeah, that's that's one thing that really fascinates me about magic in general.
Mm-hmm. Um, and what psychological aspect gets involved in this? Like, I don't know
So
how to break this
psych.
question correctly, but
Mhm.
I hope you understand what I'm trying to ask you.
So psychological aspect in the sense that um, for example, we can give it a try at the moment. See,
Okay.
it's not like it always works, but it's just a small demonstration of psychological aspect. It might work with people who are watching this.
Okay.
So
You want to
um,
demonstrate something right now?
yeah, with just a small psychological experiment. This was one of the very earliest trick I learned. So
Okay,
as I say,
sure.
it may work with a lot of you, it may not work, but let's
Hmm.
anyways give it a try.
Sure,
So
sure.
um,
Yes.
Manan, I wanted to think of a two-digit number, but let's keep it less than 50. Okay.
Okay. So
And just
just to, audience know that this is happening live, I'll write it down. I won't tell you, but I'll write
yes.
it down. Okay. Because obviously as we are conducting on Zoom, so we are in different,
Okay.
places. Wait a minute. Let me just take out a fresh page. Okay. I've taken a fresh page. Yeah.
So before you write down the number, I wanted to think of a two-digit number. Let's keep it
Mhm.
less than 50. And to make it interesting, keep both the numbers different. Okay. And
Okay.
now quickly, I wanted to write the number down.
Okay. Wait a minute. Okay. I've written the number down.
Now, most of the time, if we do it like very quickly, a lot of people they tend to go with the number 37. Is that
Okay.
what you went for?
No,
Okay. And what number was it?
it was 39.
39, which is very close if you think
Close,
about it.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was just one psychological aspect of it. Like whenever you
Okay.
ask someone to think of a number, there's a very good chance they will think of the most common number, which tends to be the number three,
Okay.
and the other number being number seven. So that is one part of it. Um,
Yeah.
so as you can see,
Uh,
your number was so close to 37. So that just shows how, over the years, how a lot of us tend to think in a very same manner.
oh, right, right, right. I get it. I mean, I was also, see, when you said that you have to write it quickly, right? My immediate, instinct was to go in the 30 series only. Nothing happened before,
Yeah.
कैसा 10 वाला series में जा सकता.
Just a quick demonstration. There's a lot to it, but
Hmm.
just to show how people like react to certain things. So that is
Correct.
more like the psychological aspect of it.
That explains it. Thank you for explaining it so well. Now, Shantanu, when you started, I think you told that you started magic at a very early age. And, one my curiosity की वजह से you went to YouTube, learned another tricks and everything. So when you're learning this tricks,
Hmm.
okay, where did you demonstrate or where did you perform these tricks and to whom did you, perform in front of?
Yeah, that's a good question. So initially, like my very first audience used to be my mother and even my dad sometimes. But
Hmm.
it used to be my mom, because every time I used to learn something, I used to go to her and like, see, I learned this. Did you
Hmm.
able to figure out like that? And then
Uh,
in the evening, I used to go out to play with my friends. So I used to be quite excited to show them a lot of tricks.
hmm.
In fact, as I said, those days I was more involved in card effects. So there always used to be a pack of cards in my pocket, and while we were playing, let's say we are like playing hide and seek. So
Hmm.
I still used to show some magic with whosoever was there with me, and yeah, so that was like my initial audience the audience in my initial days.
Acha. So weren't your parents, never like discourage you to not pursue this? आर्ट फॉर्म के इसमें थोड़ा लोग ऐसा सोचते हैं कि काला जादू हो या ऐसा कुछ, कभी
Mhm.
ऐसा बोला?
So the thing is, till now in India, a lot of people have a very different perception of magic. As you rightly mentioned, that a lot of people see it from a black magic perspective. And then again, whenever even people who don't think it that way, they think that magician's job is like wear the turban, the glittery clothes, and
Ah,
carrying that wand, and like that's the typical image that people have in mind.
correct.
So yeah, whenever I used to like, they never they never protested, or they were never against this thing of me doing magic. Even when I
Mm.
started performing professionally, they were little hesitant, but when they saw me do the different things, like how it works in real, this thing, that is when and they were also sort of cool with it. In fact, my parents have been like quite supportive in this sense, if I be honest. um, but yeah, as I said, that is still in India, like a lot of people see it from a very traditional or a very stereotypical perspective, that wearing
Mm.
glittery clothes and all that things.
Correct, correct, correct.
And I think most of the modern day magicians, they're trying to change that perspective, via social media, via real life performances. So
Hmm.
hopefully the scene gets changed over the coming years.
Right. And I actually, this perception is true as well, because yeah, it was back in, I don't know, 2000 or 2001 or 2003, around those, early 2000s, maybe we were invited to one of my father's friend's daughter's birthday, and they had a magic show put up. And even there also, the magician was wearing this black, black and white coat
Yeah,
with a huge hat with the glittery
yeah.
thing with the wand, and the usual tricks, कैसा हाथ में से ऐसा कपड़ा निकाल रहा है and all those stuff, so it was very interesting to know, I mean, to watch it in the first time. uh, Now, Shantanu, obviously many people watch magic, but what is the difference between people who only watch magic and people who get inclined towards performing the magic? देखो, मैंने भी एक बार मैजिक देखा, ठीक है, बट मेरे को कभी इतना इंटरेस्ट नहीं है कि मैं सीखूं. So what would differentiate between someone like me who has watched and not, get got into it, but and between you, like, who watched it and who got into performing magic?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So the thing is, magicians who I mean, people who get inclined towards learning magic, one of the big things, or I like to call it the magician's curse, is that they barely get to enjoy or experience magic in this sense. So due to that fact, even though they know how a trick works, but like, you cannot unsee a thing which you already saw happening. So it's something on those lines. So that's why even when someone asks me, can you tell me please, even this part, I always tell them, see, if I tell you, there's no going back. You won't be able to experience enjoy this trick ever again. So let that element of curiosity be there with you, and something on those lines. Yeah.
Right, right, right. I think this was also portrayed very well in the movie, right? The Prestige.
Yeah.
I think my brother and I have watched it many times. Not many times. I think we watched it a few months back only, but I have watched it many times. So that's really interesting. So, what is your take on such movies? Like Now You See Me Here, yeah, the Prestige here, or in that case, the Harry Potter series here, which is also magic and
Mhm.
wizard stuff related. How much of what they show is like reality, and how much of that what they show is like only for the purpose of movie?
Yeah, so I'll address the first movie, which is Prestige, which is one of my favorite movies till date. Um, like, even though it is, it is portraying a little old form of magic, it is more, inclined towards the theatrical form of magic. But one good aspect that they have highlighted is that they have shown a magician's life, like how much a magician cares about his art, how much he cares about his personality as well. Like, there is this scene of this Chinese magician, if you recall.
Hmm.
Um, I won't spoil for those who haven't watched it, but for those who have watched that movie, you will understand there is this scene of a Chinese magician, and he does certain things in a certain way, people think it's what how he is, but the reality is different. Like the reason he's doing it because he wants to, maintain a particular image about him and protect his, famous trick. So like you will find a lot of magicians who are like that, who who love their art to such an extent that it becomes a part of their life. That particular aspect of prestige is like very I really like the way they have portrayed it. Apart from that, coming to the other movie, which is Now You See Me, 1 and 2, like both these movies are like quite fun to watch. They're quite dynamic in nature. Like there's so much thing happening.
Right.
Even though these movies are like a lot of it they've shown is like only possible in movies. Like people think
Hmm.
like you can instantly make someone sleep and all that. I mean, it is possible, but not as fast or not as easily as they have shown in movies. There's a lot goes in real life.
Hmm.
But I like the part how they have shown the different forms of modern day magic, like um, the involvement of technology as well, and how a magician would dress up in a modern day society. So all those things I really like in that movie as well.
Hmm.
Coming to Harry Potter series, I think it's more on the fictional side. The genre is completely different, even the audience is different. And I mean, it's fun to watch that movie as well. I mean, I have like watched all the parts of it at least 2 to 3 times. So yeah,
Hmm. I
that is one.
understand. And what other movies are well known for magicians to watch? Because मैं magician हूँ नहीं तो मुझे इतने movies पता है, but उसके अलावा अगर किसी को देखना है तो what movies would you recommend?
Um, at the moment, if I be honest, I can only think of these two movies. I don't remember watching anything else. Though there was one more movie or a documentary in recent times. I don't remember its name at the moment, but I'll check it out and I'll definitely let you know.
Okay. Uh, Now, Shantanu, we talked about the magic part of that you perform. Now,
Hmm.
other two terms that you have written in your bio was mentalist. So, ये mentalist क्या होता है, and how is performing or being a mentalist different from being a magician?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Because see, magic is more for the eyes. It's more like a visual art form.
Okay.
Mentalism, on the other hand, is more. It's little. I wouldn't call it slow, but it little more personal and something. The psychology involved in mentalism is slightly more than that. It is in case of magic. So like you said, like magic, you might remember your first show where someone used to vanish something, bring it,
हाँ,
appear it
correct.
again. So that is
Colorful
the visual.
handkerchiefs. हाँ.
Yeah, that is the visual part of the magic. But in mentalism, you won't see this thing happening. You
Hmm.
will the things will be very direct in that sense. But at the same point, it is more to trick your mind in a way, I would say.
So how do you trick my mind when you're performing as a mentalist?
Um,
Like, is there any again a deception involved, or is it just with verbally you will tell me something to do and I'll do that, and you'll guess that
So
something like that?
mentalism involves a lot of principles from magic as well, like psychology, sleight of hand, even studying a person's behavior to a certain extent.
Okay.
The presentation involved in mentalism plays a very key role as well. So I would call it like showmanship is a very important part of it. So all these combined creates this thing called mentalism. So it's about, so in mentalism also there are different sets or different types. There are people who would the illusion would be to influence someone's decisions, then deciphering someone's thought, then
Hmm.
even hypnosis. Even though a lot of people claim it to be a very different thing, it is also sort of linked to mentalism as well. I would call it a little more advanced form of it. So
Hmm.
all these can be clubbed under mentalism in a way.
Okay. And when you say that you can influence people's decision or you can read their thoughts, like, oh, and that too without knowing the person, right? Because I've seen your clips you perform at random places. कभी समझ लो मरीन ड्राइव पे perform कर
Yeah,
रहे
yeah.
हो. So how are you able to do it? Like, is it because of experience or is it what you have been taught in those magic circles जो होते हैं तुम लोग के, like a small
Mhm.
close knit group वैसा?
So like there are hundreds of way to do a particular thing when it comes to both magic and mentalism.
Okay.
So a lot of things that people see on social media, that is, it does happen, but it's not that quick, as I mentioned, because obviously we cannot put a lot of
Mm.
long videos. They don't work that well on social media these days.
Correct.
So a lot of things happens in background, but what you see is what people experience in real. Like even someone, if they see, they come across a video of mine, they ask me, can you do the same thing at my show? Yes,
Mm.
that thing happens in real. It does work, but obviously not
Mm.
that quick. Like you, okay, think of something and boom, that it's not that quick, but
Mm.
it does take place. And as I said, mentalism, it involves a lot of different things. So overall, it becomes quite personal, as well as it quite becomes interesting in that sense as well.
Right. So can you give a like a small demo right now of mentalism, like जैसा अपन ने पहले कैसा कर दिया? तो
Yeah,
can
yeah,
you give a demo for
definitely.
right now?
In fact, let's do it like this.
Mm.
Okay. Manan, I want you to okay, before we do that, we also have Dev. Dev, I am assuming Dev is your brother.
Yes, yes, right.
Okay, so would he be able to join us for a moment? Hi, Dev. So could you unmute yourself?
Yes,
Perfect.
yes, done.
Yeah. So we'll try a small experiment. Okay.
Sure.
Just want to see how it will look on camera. I'm not sure.
Mm.
So just let me know if you can read this. I'll just turn the virtual background.
Ah.
Can you read the things over here?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to lock my phone. So that was my notes app. And
Mm.
in a moment, we're going to try something with my notes app itself. Okay. So Manan, I'll start with you. I want you to think of a single digit number. Okay.
Okay, single digit number. I'll write it down now so I can show it to the audience as well. Okay.
Okay. But don't show it to anyone at the moment. Just keep it there in your head. And
Okay, I won't
Dev,
show
I
it to
also
anyone.
want you to do the same thing.
Yes.
So
Okay.
you also
Yeah.
have a single. So both of you have a single digit in your mind. Keep
Correct.
thinking about it, because we'll do it like this. I'm gonna write down something. Let's do it like this. I'm gonna write down something on this blank card. You can see it's blank on both the sides.
Correct.
Keep thinking about the number. We will come to these two numbers in a minute.
Okay.
Okay, let's see if it works. So I have written down what you can call a prediction. I won't show anyone at the moment what this prediction is.
Hmm.
Or just to be fair, okay, I'll just hold it like this, okay?
Okay. Hmm.
For the first time, Manan, what number are you thinking of?
I will show and tell both. I'll do both. 1 minute. Let's do none. Okay. Okay. So the number that I was thinking of, and I had written to show it to public was the number 5.
5. Okay, interesting. What about you, Dave?
I chose the number 2.
Number 2. Okay, interesting. Now, here we are in the final stage wherein Manan, you're going to make the final decision. Would you like to go with 52 or 25? It is up to you.
I think both I have to choose any one number, right?
Yeah, 52 or 25. You tell me.
I'll do 52.
Okay, that was your decision, right? See, my hands have been here. I'm gonna quickly unlock my phone. So I'm gonna go to my notes app right about there. We will have a look at the very first note. Can you see the celebrities written over here?
Yes, celebrities.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm just gonna click it. So you can see all the celebrity names are different, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
All of them are different. Had you said 25, it would have been Oprah Winfrey. But
Okay.
you said 52. Can
Uh,
you read what's there at 52?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio. And these were the choices made by you two.
Yes,
I've
by
been
me
holding
complete.
this thing since the very beginning,
Correct.
right?
Ah.
And that's
Oh
Leonardo
my
DiCaprio.
God. Oh my God. Wow. Oh my God. Oh. Oh wow. And do you know what is more wow factor for me to to experience this? We are sitting in different countries. We are doing this virtually. We have just met like a day before yesterday for a little bit of screening, and you are able to do it. Oh my God. Oh. Amazing, amazing. Wow. Unbelievable.
So yeah, so that is one part of it. I mean,
But yeah, that is also like very good to of you to perform and demonstrate it also. Fantastic. Wow. I'll take some time to just digest it that this just happened. So, Shantanu, you have already demonstrated a mentalist trick as well. You explain what mentalism is, sorry, mentalist is. Uh, my next question will be for doing such a thing like a mentalist in a performance. Do you need any other prop or you just need a person to perform to?
um, now in mentalism also, it's a very broad category, as I mentioned earlier.
Hmm.
So there is a concept of propless mentalism as well. Um, though it's a little long because there's no props involved as such. But again, mentalism can be done with everyday objects, something like we just now did. It sort of
Hmm.
falls in between those things. But a lot of, as I mentioned earlier, mentalism goes with the thing of psychology as well. A lot of psychological this thing is involved. Now, I
Correct.
will leave it up to you whether the very first thing that we tried was it related to this effect in some way or the other. I'm just leaving it up to you to decide. But as I said, a lot of things are obviously connected. Psychology is involved. Even sleight of hand deception is involved in some effects. Then
Hmm.
studying a person's behavior is also involved. So this is like these are the main key factors that's involved in this.
Mhm. Right. And Shantanu, then my question would be, ke, dekho, obviously you have your own way of performing at different venues and everything, which we'll get
Mhm.
into later. But अभी समझ लो ऐसा virtually कभी करना हो किसी के लिए like somebody must have called you and told you that we want to do a virtual show or like you demonstrated this trick right now which also was a success. It wasn't कि ऐसा कहीं पे कुछ wrong हो गया.
Mhm.
So do you find this barrier of being in a different country or being in a different state, city and using this virtual platform as a barrier to perform or is it okay? कोई ऐसा difference नहीं होता है?
So that's a great question. In fact, like the past 2 years, especially during the COVID time, uh, like everything got switched online. So we as magicians, as mentalists, we also had to, change our performances, drop a few effects, learn a few more effects, modify it to certain extent that it can be performed virtually. So
Okay.
yes, performing virtually is sort of little challenging because we can just see your face, but like there's no this feeling when you perform in real life. A lot we can do a lot more, like because since I do both magic and mentalism, it's more like a very interactive this thing, whereas on a virtual platform it's just limited to this screen over here. So
Right.
though in the COVID days, like most of the shows were just not even most, all the shows were happening online itself.
Hmm.
So that was a thing, but yes, it does act as a little barrier if you ask me to certain extent.
Hmm. So, Shantanu, then what is the barrier? Like, what barriers did you face while performing? Like, apart from this, the screen is only one restriction. Like, or kya problems where you faced and how did you overcome those challenges?
So, for example, if any effect involves, shuffling playing cards.
Hmm.
Now, that cannot take place because you're on the other side of the screen. So
Correct.
no matter how legitimately we shuffle cards over here, people always have the suspicion, oh, he was the one who was handling cards. So maybe it
Hmm.
was all pre-planned or something on those lines.
Hmm.
The same happens even in case of mentalism, or wherein we are trying to, um, get some information from the person's body language, or wherein we try to analyze who can be the perfect person to try something on this. So that becomes difficult when on virtual thing. Then people who do pickpocketing is also like a fun part of magic, wherein magician steals something and then they give it to the spectator right there. So everyone gets to see that happen, not the
Hmm.
person whom it is being done on. So all those
Okay.
elements, like, they cannot be done on a virtual platform, obviously. So those things, for because of those things, I feel magic is best when experienced live, when experienced in person, rather than even on a screen.
Hmm. 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 Wow. That's so interesting. And when you perform these card tricks or this pickpocketing wala jo tricks hota hai,
Mhm.
or in any way where a small props are involved. So is it compulsory that the props have to be your props only, or if I give, let's say अभी कोई card वाला trick तुम्हें perform करना होता right now,
Mhm.
okay, if you are meeting in person. And if I give you my deck of cards, which is like 5-7 years old, उसका ऐसा fold हो गया है, किसी का कुछ हो गया है,
Yeah.
so does that affect your magic trick?
um Not really. I mean, it actually happened with me quite recently. In fact, at one of the gigs, so I was performing there, and there was this girl who, she was little hesitant. She was telling that no, perform with some other cards, and I was
Hmm.
like, okay, get me, get me new cards, and I'll do it again. So she
Correct.
actually went out. She bought a deck of cards, and then she asked me to perform. So it did happen. So effects can be performed with borrowed cards or borrowed props as well. And in
Okay.
fact, in the modern this thing, a lot of things actually happen from using borrowed objects or objects which are handled by both myself, I mean the magician, as well as the spectators. So,
Hmm.
for example, if you're trying something with coins, or maybe with um, rings or anything like that, a lot of effects in fact involve borrowed rings, borrowed coins, or something like that. So that's why I say that the modern day magic is much more interactive as compared to the perception that people have, is just that a magician is on a stage doing something. So it's not like that anymore. It's both
Okay.
ways.
And ऐसा how should I put it? What are the similar doubts that you face when performing? कि ये तो मैंने cards वाला doubt डाल दिया, which is a very common doubt. तो
Mhm.
वैसे और क्या doubts है which people ask you to do कि अच्छा ऐसा मत करो ऐसा करो, and then you are able to execute the trick that you intend to perform. तो ऐसा what are the things?
So yeah, we also come across hecklers.
Hmm.
Like, not always, but there have been cases where, like, we come across different types of hecklers. Like, for example, if you ask them to pick a card, they will be like, "No, I'm not gonna pick a card. I'm just thinking of a card. Now you do the trick," or something like that. Or you just
Hmm.
ask them to return back the card, they will keep it in their pocket. So uh, you come across hecklers in, not just in magic, but in all sorts of this thing, even in mentalism. You
uh,
ask someone to think of something, they will think something really weird or something like that. So
uh,
uh, hecklers are a part of this thing, but as magicians, as mentalists, or I would say as performing uh, magicians and mentalists, we usually keep multiple sleeves up our sorry, tricks up our sleeves, if you
uh,
that makes sense. So we,
yeah.
like, most of the time we have a backup ready.
uh,
So that is one part of it. But it's also a different experience, dealing with the heckler, and I would say it's quite fun as well.
Right. And चलो ये तो तुमने बता दिया कि these are the things that you deal with when you have to perform a trick physically. अभी let's say you are performing a mentalist trick, okay, like the number
Mhm.
one that you showed me right now. So अभी let's say you guessed my number right, okay. Okay, 5 तुमने guess right किया. But just because now I want to, not be proven wrong, so deliberately I'm going against. कि नहीं, मैंने 5 सोचा ही नहीं था, मैंने 1 सोचा. I say you're telling wrong. You're not a true magician or mentalist. So in such a situation where things are invisible, right? Because मेरे mind में ही था number.
Yeah.
So then how do you deal with that?
So, as I said, it is not perfect. Like, even while we were doing the first psychological quick experiment, I mentioned that time that there's a good chance it may not work. And that happens as well. Though it's not like it happens most of the time, because we do, as I mentioned, we do have alternate backups ready. But with that being said, that is why a lot of times, if I see someone can, go, change their decision at the very moment or something like that, I usually ask people to, like you just now did, like, write it and keep it in the pocket, or just write it down so that you don't change your mind at the end, or you don't try to trick me in that sense. So that
Okay.
also, that is one thing that I do. Yeah.
Right. Now, Shantanu, now I want to know that देखो, obviously a lot, everyone who sees or watches magic is fascinated by it, right? And कभी ना कभी people have this thought कि अच्छा मेरे को एटलीस्ट कुछ ऐसा 2-3 ट्रिक आ जाए कि मैं लेट्स से एग्जांपल कि मैं किसी के साथ डेट पे जा रहा हूँ, राइट? तो वो लड़की को इम्प्रेस करने के लिए मैं कुछ परफॉर्म करूँ, राइट? बट ऐसा आता नहीं है क्योंकि वी हैव नोबडी इज प्रैक्टिसिंग मैजिक, राइट? अपार्ट फ्रॉम द magicians. So if can you teach people magic, or can you reveal secrets about the magic, or is it like a forbidden thing amongst the magician circle ke never let the trick out, and unless and until a person is completely dedicated to this art तभी उसको बताओ? कैसे चलता है like in your circle?
Well, today in this age of technology, a lot of things are available online. So I feel, see, if people were really that secretive, then the art form will never grow, right? So sharing a few things is like, it's okay. Like, there are a lot of things which people already know. It's just that they tend to overlook, or they never give it a proper thought to it. So just for anyone who is starting out, they can start with certain basic effects, and I feel it's okay to reveal those effects, because anyway they don't clash with a lot of the main routines or the main effects that professionals do in their gigs or in their shows. So just to start out, like, basic things can be learned, and those are available online. In fact, I can show you one effect, and if for the audience, I can even teach it if you want.
Show you meaning how will you show?
I'll perform something, and then I'll tell you how it works. It's more like, it's an interesting, fun effect. You can give it a try.
Okay, so you're saying that you'll perform a trick right now, and you'll
Yeah.
also later tell us that how did you perform that trick? That is what you're
Yes.
saying.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yes, please tell us.
Hi, Manan. Is my voice audible?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna try a small effect. This is one of the very first tricks I learned, and hopefully it works, and hopefully it impresses you. Let's see. So inside this envelope, I have 3 playing cards, as you can see. I'll just bring it close to the camera, right? So do not let me influence you, but if you were to quickly go ahead and pick any one card, which one would that be?
Ace of spades of ace. Ace of spades.
Ace of spades.
Yeah.
Sorry, ace of spades,
Spades.
right? And this was your free choice.
Yeah.
Now, see, my both hands have been here. But even before we started, I placed something down on the table. It's the same card on which I had wrote the earlier prediction, but behind that,
oh my God.
it's written ace of spades, just like that.
Okay. So you can explain this trick as well, right? How did you do this?
Yes, and the secret is simple. Once you know it, it's not that impressive. But this is more like a self-working trick. It does require some sort of a preparation, which I did just before coming back online. But it's a very fun effect, to be honest. I'll teach that, but for viewers who don't want to, don't want to spoil the fun, they can skip this part.
Hmm.
Okay. So the secret is very simple. It works something like this. Okay. I bring out an envelope, right? And I show the three cards. Now I've deliberately put one card, which is, you will see both are black cards and there's one red card,
Correct.
right?
Huh.
So most of the people might tend to, go for the Queen of Diamonds. If
Hmm.
that happens, I won't even tell there was some sort of prediction over here. I would simply take the Queen and I will tell them that, see, this is the only card which has a cross on its back, while the
Hmm.
other two cards are completely normal.
Hmm.
So that is the first out you will do.
Okay.
Now, if you watch the video again, you will see that in the performance, I was holding this envelope since the very beginning,
Correct.
right? So there was a
Hmm.
reason. Had you gone for the 9 of clubs, I would have said, see, that was your free choice. And that's why I predicted the 9 of clubs over here.
Oh.
So it is basically a sort of multiple outs.
Yeah.
Obviously, it won't work with it can work with like 4 or 5 cards, but it's difficult to carry. I think this is the most best thing. What you can do also is that keep the ace of spades cards inside the envelope as well, and
Hmm.
you just take out the first 3 cards. Had you set the ace of spades, you can simply reach inside and pull this card out.
Uh-huh.
If they go for the 9 of clubs, you can show this. If
Correct.
they say the queen, you can show this. So that is one way of performing it.
Oh. Wow. Yeah, now this is so simple, right? You had options क्या ready. Now ये तो तुमने बता दिया because I'm like seeing your face. अभी some like I've seen on videos people performing at marine lines again. That time people are circling around you, right?
Yeah,
तो
yeah.
तभी लोगों को नहीं दिखेगा ऐसा कोई कि पीछे वाले कार्ड पे ये है या कुछ ऐसा मार्क किया है.
Now, see, that's actually a great question. So you cannot perform a particular effect like at every place. There are effects best suited for a certain setting.
Okay.
Um, Certain effects can only be done on in a particular environment. So that is
Mm-hmm.
one thing. While performing surrounded, that actually is a challenge, but it's also fun because it lets you, especially performers who are just starting now, it lets you practice thing called crowd management, because as a performer, that is a very important skill that a performer should know irrespective of the art. But a lot of magicians I've seen, they tend to overlook this particular aspect as well. So because the challenge is not only you have to prevent the secret being revealed, but you also have to involve the people. It's not that you just focus your attention on one crowd while the other crowd is like just standing over there. So you have to put out the energy in such a way that everyone is getting engaged, and in that sense. So yeah.
Got it. Makes sense. Now, Shantanu, obviously, you've been doing this for many years, right? But how do you practice this stuff in front of public? Initially, you told you used to perform in front of your friends and mother and family. ठीक है, तब वहाँ तक तो ठीक है. But let's say like you are a professional magician and now you want to go to normal crowd. तो how is the format like? या तुम लोग कभी ऐसा कुछ open mic जैसा होता है जैसा stand up comedians में होता है या how does it work?
So yeah, while we learn something new, the first if it's more on the close-up side, then we try it on, let's say, our family members or maybe close friends. These days, since I stay in Mumbai, and the Marine Drive thing is, the Sunday streets that is happening at Marine Drive, so I try a lot of new material over there as well.
Okay.
So that is one thing. But as you mentioned, yes, there are open mics for magicians as well, for magic as well. Though the number of such open mics is not like it's not that frequent as compared to stand-up comedy or even poetry. But there are these open mics. Now, as we performers, especially whom we are trying to promote the modern form of magic, we want that more such open mics should take place, and we really want to take the scene to such a level where stand-up comedy is today. Because if we trace back, stand-up comedy was when it was in its very initial stages, nobody saw that in the coming 5 6 years it will be such a big thing. And I think
Correct.
that is exactly what magic is at present. Like, I feel it has a lot of potential, because um, not many people have witnessed magic or mentalism live, so they don't know how it is to experience it.
Correct.
So
Correct.
we are trying our best to promote it as much as it is, via open mics, via even organizing shows, um, this through video, this thing as well, like video contents. So hopefully in the coming years it grows in a good way.
Right. And in fact, even reels, I think reels have been very, very much helpful to, magicians who want to put out their performances. And it has a wide reach also. And people को ऐसा, how should I put it? कि एक बार ऐसा रील देख लिया, राइट, ऐसा शांतनु का मैजिक का, देन पीपल हैव दैट एक्सपेक्टेशंस की हाँ एक काम करते हैं, आई होप कि आज मैं मरीन ड्राइव जा रहा हूँ तो काश ऐसा शांतनु मिल जाए somebody के आई कैन एक्सपीरियंस द
Right, right.
मैजिक एज वेल, सो दैट अट्रैक्शन पुश एंड पुल दोनों फैक्टर इसमें आ जाता है, राइट. Now, has it ever happened to you कि when you're performing a trick, या कि समझ लो कोई card trick है, या anything revolving around a prop, कि योर ऐसा ये वाला जो सीक्रेट था दैट जस्ट ऐसा गिर गया, ऐसा कहीं ऐसा कार्ड्स है तो कार्ड्स गिर गए, या कोई और प्रॉप था तो प्रॉप गिर गया, एंड दैट लाइक रिवील्ड द सीक्रेट इटसेल्फ कि परफॉर्म कैसे कर रहा था. ऐसा कभी हुआ है, या यू हैव लाइक गुड होल्ड ओवर इट? आई मीन
To be
इनिशियली तो
honest,
कुछ ऐसा हुआ ही होगा, राइट, इनिशियल डेज में स्लीप.
yeah, to be honest, these funny incidents, this happen with, I think, almost all the performers out there, irrespective of whether you're just starting out or you're a pro. Because see, we after all, we are just humans, so um, mistakes can happen, might they do happen, but as I said, many a times, lay people, they don't know that it was a part of the trick, or it was a prop in general. And sometimes, even if it flashes or even if it doesn't work, it's okay, like, because we are not there to perform just one trick, we are there to, magic is just a medium to entertain people, to get to know people and have a good time with people. So
Correct.
and we also have backups for a lot of effects that we do. So in terms of close-up magic, there's a lot of maneuverability which is present, in terms of the performers. But um, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of magicians will have such funny stories wherein something they flashed or something that didn't go the way they planned. Or sometimes we are so much involved in the method, um, that we tend to forget the realist aspect of it. Like, we tend to take some things into consideration which may not work in the real life. So all those things happen, but it's part of the learning process. So yeah.
Now, Shantanu, a little bit few more questions about the being, about the mentalist and magicians. Okay, do you have like a magician's code, or do you have like a magician's community where you teach each other how to perform magics? Like, what is the community like?
So the community in India is not that big as compared to it is in UK or in US,
Okay.
but it is growing. A lot of people are getting inclined towards performing magic and mentalism, and since a good thing about this small community here in India is that we know each other very well. Like, it helps us even when we are learning something new. We can instantly call someone or drop someone a message, and the community is quite supportive in that sense. Um, or like, it also happens, like, if someone is traveling to a new city for a show, if their baggage gets lost, or if they forgot to carry something, then other magicians, since the community is small, other people are there to help them, and it's easy to connect. So in that sense, it's so far it's a very good community, it's a well connected community. We have groups and forums actually, wherein we discuss new things, we share our performances, And if you talk about the community in other countries such as UK, I think has the biggest magic community. I mean, the most number of performers you'll find is in UK and Europe in general. Then
Okay.
comes United States as well.
Mm.
And in fact, a lot of the modern day magic itself originates from those countries. So a lot of literature in magic is a lot of books, all that is written in these countries. So, as I mentioned earlier, that a lot of funny incidents that happen in magic is that we read something, but we never take the realistic consideration of that we are performing in India. So, a few things that the Europeans are doing in their country, they may not work that great here in India. So, that is something where our community also comes into play because people share their previous experiences with something. So that is how
Mm-hmm.
the current scene in magic is.
Acha. And since it is a close-knit community, so do you guys, or does everyone perform the same tricks or people devise their own tricks? I ask this because there's a stand-up comedy में कैसा है कि there is a chance that people might steal your jokes. You know कि मैंने इसको एक बार open mic में सुन लिया and then I reframe it and make it my joke. So does that happen in your case? Yeah, it is like standard कि all the magicians perform the same trick इसलिए कोई problem नहीं.
That's a very great question because that is an insecurity that a lot of magicians actually carry. That sometimes they, find out something from a book which is like highly underrated or something that someone may not have read, or maybe someone comes up with their own variation or their own method.
Hmm.
So there is always this insecurity that some other performer might adapt or adopt it or steal it, whatever you want to call it. But
Hmm.
uh, so that is there, but all the performers have their own speciality in a way. So the mentalists who are there, they know that their signature effects are so and so. Some of the magicians, they have speciality in something. So that particular aspect is what makes their gigs or their events little unique. So in my
Hmm.
case, it is more on the mentalism and the Rubik's cube side.
Hmm.
So I do a lot of things related to Rubik's cube and Rubik's cube magic. Uh, so at my gigs, I try to incorporate these things in the best way possible. Whereas if there is a mentalist who has something very specialized to him, so that person will do it in his own style, and so it's like that.
Hmm. 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 Okay. Okay. I understand. Hmm. Um, hmm. And is there like a like I said, like I think I've used this multiple times, like a magician's code, okay, do's and don'ts of being a magician or a mentalist. Okay, you cannot use your tricks when you're not performing. You can only use your tricks while you're performing. ऐसा कुछ ऐसा because as a like you said, right? You can read people's minds and everything, right? But that is so long as it is confined as a performance. Okay, perform कर रहा है तभी. But अभी समझ like you must be working. You have a day job, right? एंड तूने तेरा बॉस का लाइक माइंड पढ़ लिया कि ये तो मुझे प्रमोशन देने नहीं वाला है तो लेट्स चेंज द जॉब इन द नेक्स्ट 2 or 3 months तो वो अनएथिकल भी हो जाता है राइट तो हाउ डू
Hmm.
यू डील विद दिस एथिकल प्रॉब्लम्स इन दिस थिंग्स
So there is like not a code as such, but there are basic thing in magic that it's said that you never perform the same trick twice for the same audience. That's like a
ओके
very general thing, and that does hold true. Like if I perform the same trick again with you, there's a good chance that first you won't be that much fascinated because you know what is coming next. So you might want to change the outcome or something like that. So like these are some of the codes, like you should not reveal your tricks. These are like the basic codes out there. But coming to the second part of the question that you asked about mind reading, I'd like to address that. Well, mind reading as such is a very bold statement. If someone claims that they can read minds, it's a very a very big or a very bold statement that someone is making. As a performer, I never use the word mind reading in any of my brochures, in my show reels or anything like that, because let's be honest, if mind reading really is possible, why would a mentalist or anyone be performing for a stranger? Why wouldn't he go out there and read the minds of billionaires or politicians, corporations, and
Mm-hmm.
so you get the point. So mind reading, when it comes to this thing called mentalism, it's more oriented towards like creating an illusion which involves a combination of things, as I mentioned earlier, like sleight of hand, psychology, behavioral science, showmanship. That this all these aspects, when clubbed together, they create this illusion that someone is able to decipher someone's thought. So a
Okay.
lot goes into it. But as I said, it's not like not very instant as well. So it's a step-by-step process. It works with certain type of people. It doesn't work with all the people, but it does work most of the time. And that's why it's more classified as entertainment, not
Acha.
as any psychic power or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Now we talk about your Rubik's cube, which is another third your third strength. So ये जो Rubik's cube वाला, so what do you do? Do you do Rubik's cube art, or do you do like a magic tricks related to Rubik's cube? What do you do?
So I do both the things actually.
Hmm.
Um, when I was in like sixth standard, I think in that time I got into solving Rubik's cube.
Hmm.
I was very properly into competing speed cubing as well, competitive speed cubing,
Hmm.
which is a sort of a sport wherein people try to solve Rubik's cubes and similar puzzles as fast as possible.
Hmm.
And there are different events, so I was quite active in this scene as well. After that, I also got interested into making artworks out of hundreds of Rubik's cubes. So I
Okay.
designed my method, and since then I've like made a lot of artworks of different celebrities and personalities out there. And
Hmm.
then as a magician, I always wanted to incorporate my second hobby, that is Rubik's cubes, into this. So I started performing Rubik's cube magic in my shows as well. So
Okay.
yeah, it's both things actually.
Acha. So when you say that you wanted your Rubik's cube was your passion, so that is why you incorporated magic into it. तो मतलब as such ये कोई traditional magic नहीं. Is it something that you have created on your own, or is it like कि नहीं I have interest इसलिए किया है like?
Rubik's cube magic may not be considered as a traditional magic because Rubik's cube itself is a very new prop. If you
अच्छा.
it was invented in the 1980s.
Hmm.
So traditional magic is something that people have been doing since centuries. So it is not considered as a traditional prop as such. But
Hmm.
I'm not the only one or the first person to do this. Like that is
Hmm.
magic with Rubik's cube. There have people who have their own variations. However, some of the effects that I do are unique to me. Uh, then there are some effects which are variations of others. So it's a combination of both things.
Combination of all. Okay. Like
Yeah.
can you show like a Rubik's cube trick right now? Very
Um,
small one.
yeah, definitely. I think I might have a cube here. Yeah. So I'll remove the video background.
Yeah, sure.
So I'll keep it down like this so you can see the cube. I hope it's visible.
Yes.
So Manan, have you solved a cube before?
No, I don't know how to solve it.
Okay, so I'll show you the cheating way of solving the cube. All you
Hmm.
got to do, give it a flick, and you will see the entire cube get solved just like that.
Wow. Nice trick. Nice.
So yeah.
Amazing. So this is a simple trick, right?
Yeah, this was just the illusion wherein the cube gets solved like really fast. If you want, I can show you a different variation as well. Just keep it there. So let's quickly give it a mix, something like this. So you can see the cube is mixed up on all the sides.
Correct.
We can mix it up more, something like this. If I turn it once, it is still mixed up. So the magic happens right when you toss it in the air.
Oh, wow. Super. It's amazing. Wow. It's really interesting, man.
So this was the visual form of Rubik's cube. I also do a little bit mentalism with Rubik's cube as well. So if you want, we can give it a try. Like something that I haven't tried since a long time, to be honest.
Like if you're fine with it, it shouldn't look like that I'm taking free performances from you.
No, no, no,
ऐसा
no.
नहीं
Please
है.
don't, not like that.
हाँ.
I'm completely fine.
Okay, then it's fine. If it yes, then you can perform.
So I happen to have like two mini cubes here with me. These are the. I'll keep both of them in the frame. Okay, so we have two cubes here. So if you were here, I would have given you like both the cubes to mix. But since you're not here, you tell me what all moves you want me to do. Like turn the right layer once, twice, upper layer, bottom layer. You tell me.
Um, you can do your own thing, mix it anyhow that you want.
Okay, you want me to mix it any way, or you can tell me. Let's because I don't want people to think I'm just doing any certain moves or anything like that. So you can tell me
Okay.
what all moves you want me to do.
Okay, you can take the bottom, what do you call it?
Yeah,
That thing, and
bottom.
you can twist it like twice or thrice.
Okay.
Okay. Then the middle one, you can twist it twice.
Okay.
The right one, you can twist it thrice.
Okay.
And the left one, you can twist once or twice, or whatever, it's fine.
Okay. So all do you want me to do more moves, or
No,
should we?
I think this is, this is fine.
Oh, if you want, I can even do it without looking like completely random, as you can see.
Correct.
Yeah, and if you were here, I would have given you the other cube as well. So can you tell me what all moves you want me to do on this cube as well?
Again, bottom twice,
Okay.
top once, middle middle once,
Okay.
and right and left both thrice.
Something like this. I can even make it more random if you want. Something like
Yeah.
you can tell me stop whenever you want.
Yeah, you can stop. Yeah, you can stop.
Okay, okay, right there. So now, Manan, we have two cubes. You told me the instructions, and again, if you were here, I would have given you the cubes to mix it with your own hands. But tell me, which one of these two cubes do you want? The right cube or the left cube?
Yeah, you
Point to
can take
anyone.
the right one. Yeah.
The right cube. Oh, okay, so I'll keep this cube for you. Okay. Whereas the other cube, I will show you something different. Okay. So you may have heard about the thing called solving a Rubik's cube, which you just now saw, okay, with magic or with skill. But you have seen people solve a cube. You have also seen people mix a cube, something that we just now did. I will show you something which is known as unmixing a Rubik's cube.
Okay.
Okay, now technically speaking, unmixing a cube should mean that we are just trying to solve the cube, right? But the reality is little different in the sense that even though it looks like we are trying to solve the cube, but the cube is not actually getting solved. Okay. And if you were here, you could have in fact do it little close, so you can actually see all the moves. So unmixing a cube is like taking the Rubik's cube to such a state where the cube is like neither completely solved nor just now what happened is what you can see in my hand is a completely unmixed Rubik's cube.
Correct.
You know why it is unmixed?
Yeah, because there is no way to put it in the same colors.
Okay, well, if you think technically unmixed should mean that it is solved, right? But
Correct.
it is not solved either. You know why? Because well, the thing is it is solved, but the solution is little different. You see this cube which you told me how to mix, it's lying there since the very beginning. If I take this cube as well, you will actually see.
Oh, it has the same pattern of colors.
Same pattern, yeah. I know it's a little difficult to see on camera, but you can see same pattern on all.
Yes.
On all the sides.
On all the sides.
A complete match. But you see, that was not even the main effect. This was something that I just did in front of you, and you might, call it skill. But what if I tell you that this was more on the mentalism side, in the sense that even before we started, I placed a big cube over here. I haven't touched it since the beginning. It's been there in the frame. I deliberately put it in the frame. The thing is, this is also a mixed Rubik's cube.
Correct.
And if you watch closely,
They also have the same patterns.
yeah,
Oh my God. That's oh
you can see
wow.
the same patterns on all sides actually.
Wow. Amazing. Fantastic. Uh, if you could tell how did you do that first Rubik's cube wala thing where you just touched and it went same colors, or you just throw it in air and happened all colors. Will you be able to tell that, or it's not allowed? Right?
I won't be able to reveal the method behind it, but it obviously is an illusion.
Okay.
I do this in real as well in my shows actually.
Acha.
And what you saw was in the beginning was something that I had created in the lockdown. So it
Acha.
is sort of unique to me. However, you will
Unique.
find a similar quick solve this thing out there by other creators as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it's more like a visual form of Rubik's cube magic.
Hmm. And will you be able to perform this even if someone else gives you the cube, or is you need only your cube?
It can be done on borrowed cube as well.
Oh
And
wow.
I like to keep Rubik's Cube Magic a little more interesting, something like this, wherein it
Hmm.
involves other people as well. So
Okay.
not
Okay.
just to the visual element, but
Yeah.
to the I like to add both the things, the visual as well as the mentalism element.
Wow, fantastic, man. That's such a interesting thing to watch as well, and I'm really curious to know. But obviously, you cannot tell everything. I think I'll have to join your magicians community to be able to learn these things. Now, just a few quick questions before we end this. Okay, Abhi, obviously you said that you cannot reveal. Okay, that's not a problem. But I think in the beginning of the conversation, you said that there are magicians who have their YouTube channels who teach you how to perform and how things are done. So, what channels or what videos would you recommend to people who want to learn basic tricks?
So, a very good channel is of Chris Ramsey. He is a very famous YouTuber as well,
Mm,
and he has taught a few card effects in the past. He doesn't teach them anymore. He's more
mm,
into collecting different decks of cards and solving different types of puzzles. Um, However, he does have covered like a lot of things regarding magic. So like even I have this small hobby of collecting playing cards.
okay.
So for lay people it is just playing cards, but for us those are pieces of art. And some
Mm,
of the decks that I have in my collection, they are slightly rare. You will find playing cards, very basic bicycle playing cards, something that a lot of magicians use. It's more like a standard, to
mm,
rare cards which are of hundreds and thousands of dollars. So
oh,
um, and the playing cards, I don't have any of it. In the other room, I guess. So otherwise I would have shown you the different types of this thing. But on
mm,
Chris Ramsey's channel, he has covered all sorts of different types of playing cards as well. And it's really beautiful to see the amazing patterns, the amazing designs other artists have put in. So I feel his channel is a very good channel to start, because he has not just taught magic, but he has shown the other interesting aspects of it as well.
okay. So, Chris Ramsey is the go-to channel for it.
Yeah.
And is there any other channel, or it's just this one is like perfect? Like,
That is one of the only channels I could think of, because Chris Ramsey himself being a performer, um, I think his channel is the most, I would say, the most proper approach to magic as compared to, see, on YouTube, if you search magic trick or magic tutorial, you will find hundreds of channels out there. But then the
mm,
difference is who really like knowing the secret is one thing, but knowing how to do it in real life is the main thing. So if someone who is teaching you himself is a performer, then I think that adds more value to the teaching itself.
got it, got it. Amazing, Shantanu. I really appreciate you doing this with us, your time as well, and the magic tricks that you have shown. This has been a really great learning, experience as well. I think this is after more than 20 or 22 years that I've seen a magic trick, being performed live. And I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.